Welcome to the droidCon New York City. I'm really happy to be here today, that I was invited to actually give the talk about droidCon, about daydreaming, about cardboards. My name is Bodemann, and as you can tell by my socks, I'm working for Contentful. Why I'm saying this, as Contentful, we are not only producing those awesome swags and cardboards, but we are also doing a headless content management system. My job there is to take this headless content management system and see what we can do with this SDK. So for me, I decided let's take a look into what Google announced this year, Daydream. What can we do with Daydream? How does Daydream work? And how can we integrate it with the management system? I will not focus on this one because it's, I think, more important to see okay, how does virtual reality actually work? If you want to follow my slides, there is the link bit.ly mbvrnyc. Mario Bodemann, Virtual Reality in New York City. Also, as you can tell by those awesome emojis over there, if you have any questions, just raise your hand. Please don't throw shoes at me. This didn't work out the last time. Yeah. So this was a bit about me. I would like to know more about you. So who has written an Android app before? Please raise your hand. OK, awesome. Great conference then, I guess. Who has written some virtual reality Daydream app before in any context? OK. So maybe a third or something. And the last question is, who has heard about Contentful before this talk? Oh, that's also awesome. Thank you, guys. So let's dive in. What are we going to talk about? So I will first start talking about cardboard. What is cardboard? How do you use it? And so on. Then I will make a quick demo with screenshots on my slide about how do you actually program something in Unity for cardboard. And I will be then going over Daydream, what is the SDK features, how does this work, and what actually is Daydream. So let's just dive right into it. Cardboard. What is cardboard? So cardboard is essentially this thing. It's made of cardboard, strangely enough, and you put your phone in the middle. When you have your phone inside, you can run cardboards on it, and you are diving deep into the virtual reality. It was announced some years ago from Google, and the specifications were online, so everybody could make their own cardboards. So this is also why there are so many cardboards in different shapes, forms, and whatever colors around. And it's so easy to actually dive into VR because you just need this thing and a phone. But what does it do? So I like bunnies, so let's take a look at this bunny picture. This is actually a screencast from a virtual reality app. And what we are seeing there is the actual screen of the phone. So we have a left image and a right image for the left eye and the right eye, obviously. What we can also see is that the borders are kind of distorted. This is because inside this cardboard are lenses. Those lenses together with this kind of screen works that the display, that everything you're seeing looks like as it's 3 meters away or something similar. The other thing what cardboard offers is that you can, okay, not on this one, but on the beta version, on the alpha versions, you can see that every cardboard has a different set of lenses. So, and in order to actually understand for the app what kind of lenses are inside, you have some QR codes, which is also specified by the cardboard. So you just scan this QR code through the app, and then everybody can use your cardboard with any other app. So speaking about apps, and again, if any questions are arising, just raise your hands. The question is, how do you actually program for it? There are some some SDKs available from Google, and obviously there's an Android SDK, right? Because otherwise I will probably not be talking here. There's also an iOS SDK, just mentioning it here. But also they announced, I think last week, that there's an Unreal SDK. So you can use the Unreal Engine also to just generate cardboard apps. What I will be focusing on the first part is the Unity engine. Unity, probably known quite well. Who knows about Unity? Oh, okay, great. I not too familiar with Unity, I just use it to see like how do I do cardboard apps with this. So it runs on like Apple hardware. It can create iOS apps. It can create Android apps. It can run on the desktop. It can run on a Pixel C. I don't know if you want to put a tablet in here, but in theory it would work. The question is what is common to all of those SDKs, right? All of them do the preparation I showed you on the screenshot where you had this rotating object. So they do the lens distortion, they do the spatial audio, which is like, okay, I rotate my head and I hear the sound source coming from somewhere else. They obviously do also the head tracking, so like if I rotate my face, the scene also rotates. As in, for me, if I rotate my face, it stays. So, sorry, it's a bit complicated, but that's just the way it is. It also does the 3D calibration, what I said before, is like it creates the lenses and like knows how to change the scene in order to create the right output. Also, like for the classical cardboards, you have one interaction. So like with this specific kind of cardboard, you just reached through it on the phone screen, and this way you touched on it, and this was a trigger. The Google cardboards had like a button here. And all of the SDKs provide some means of finding out, okay, did I press the button now, or how did I interact with it? If you want to know more about it, either talk to me or go to this slide, go to this page, vrgoogle.com, and then take this as a nice starting point. But also, if you are, like as some of you are Unity developers, for me this is like just really the, okay, Android guy view onto Unity, right? So how can I use Unity to create a simple app running cardboard? Also, you remember I was mentioning that there was a new announcement from Google last week, I think, which was announcing it's now out of beta, right? So the Google VR SDK is now version 1.0. With this version 1.0, they also said that Unity will have a technical preview. So this means that if you're using this technical preview in Unity, you can use the VR SDK natively. So you don't need to have the Unity plugin from Google. It will run out of the box. It has some limitations, but I hope we will come to this afterwards. But there's also the Google VR plugin, which was the classical way of doing it. So you click on this plugin link, which will give you a link to the GitHub repository from Google. And then you take this plugin and just drag and drop it into your Unity plugin to actually see what's going on. If you want to install Unity, I have some links also here. Please take care, like always, the little penguin, the Linux guy. There's a bit of a more specific magic you have to do if you want to run Unity on Linux. It works, but... So, and this is where I go and dive into the demo, right? So let's say you have Unity installed, and we want to not go for the technical preview way, but we want to do the plugin way. So we are using the out-of-the-box Unity installer. The first thing we are facing is the create a new project screen. Okay, so far so common. I create a name, I say like, okay, where should it be saved, and that I want to create a 3D screen, a 3D scene. And then when I created this one, I will end up here. This is the default Unity screen. And the magic happens in here. This is, I want to say, it's the stage view. So this is the preview of how your scene will look. This is how your scene will look like, but not from the eye of the viewer, but from like whatever angle you have. If you want to see it from the user perspective, this is the camera. I hope you can see it okay. For the viewers at home, I'm pointing to the camera. So with the camera, you can see how it will actually look like if you run the app. But since the gray area is a bit boring, I want to just like enhance it. How do I enhance it? I go onto the menu game object, click on 3D object, and then add a plane. And voila, I have a white plane. Yay, okay. Let's try again, bringing up a bit more excitement. I can even scale this plane. So I now selected the inspector view on the right pane, and there we have a scale option. If I change this scale option, I hope you can see it by the way, to be like not 1, but 10, I have a bigger, like I now have a bigger plane. Okay, I can see by the excitement level we have to like keep improving on this one, so let's add more objects. Again, adding objects is the same way like I added the plane, right? So I click on game object, click on 3D object, and then, for instance, add a cube. Okay, so now we have a cube. How do I move this cube? If we take a close look into like what happens if I select it, we have those little arrows. I can use the arrows and just move it around. I click on the arrow and move it up in order to move the object up. And I can also do this with all the other objects. So in this case, I created 3 more objects. So I have the cube, I have the cylinder, I have the capsule, and I have a circle. If we now click on the camera, we see, okay, this is what the user would be seeing. It's kind of white on white, right? So let's change this one too and makes it even more exciting, right? This for we can use material. In order to select a material, we first have to edit. Therefore, I have to click in the lower level of in the lower part of the screen on the All Materials button, and then find this Asset Store button. If I click on this one, this will open the Asset Store, which is the thing where I can buy or even use the for free assets from Unity. So in my example, I used the red beard material because it had like some of the things I wanted to use. But there are tons of others. So you don't even need to know how textures work or anything. You just select, that looks good. After you've clicked on this thing which looks good, you have to also say, I want to actually import it. So again, in the inspector, after you clicked on the material, you have to say import package. Importing the package will show you the awesome red beard icon, but also will offer you what you actually want to import from this package. So in my case, I want to import all of it because there are several materials inside, and I want to make my app look even better. So I have added them now. Nothing changed because the materials are in my project. So what do I do next? I assign those materials to my objects. Selecting an object is done by left-clicking on any object. And then when I hit Shift and then click on another object, I can select more objects. So in this case, you can tell by the orange border around it. The next thing is I have to go into the inspector and find this awesome little materials tab over here, expand it, and then click on the little sphere in order to assign a material on it. And when I do those things, I will get this material dialog where I can see, okay, there are my red beards materials I just added. Selecting one of them and then going through all of the other objects results in this kind of screen. Okay, I see one guy not. Yay, yay, yay. Okay, I think we can also get the other side to applaud a bit more. So let's try and improve on it. Because if I start playing this scene, which is like the analogous of I start compiling my app and just run it in the emulator, it will look like this. So it's like. Okay, great. I think we can do even better. I know it's like kind of a stretch, but we can do better, guys. So in order, because normally there is no motion inside, right? So what I would like to do is just see something moving, something happening on the screen. And this is also the nice thing for me why I wanted to use Unity or just learn more about it, because I can just add physics to it. Sorry. No, that was actually right. So I again select all the objects I want to add physics on it. And then go on to the menu, hey, okay, component, physics, rigid body. Rigid body means I can hit the play button and actually, wait for it, something happens. Okay. Yeah, also this can still be improved, right? So I now just added random objects, rotated them, all made them rigid objects, and saw hey, okay, what happens if I now play the scene? So there's some kind of things happening, right? So it's already better. The thing is, I would like to now see, hey, where does this ball actually go to, right? So it falls down and it runs somewhere behind me. So how do I rotate? Maybe I can use a cardboard for this one, right? So let's go back to the topic I'm actually talking about, right? So how do I add now cardboard on this one? Therefore, I go for assets, import package, custom package. And if you remember beforehand, I said like you should download or check out the GitHub repository from GVR. With this repository, you automatically get the Unity package we will need later on, or we need in this step actually. So I have it downloaded, so I just click on Import Custom Package, and there select like wherever I downloaded the SDK, the GitHub repository to. This will say like, hey, this is all the things I want to import now from the plugin, and I said, yeah, sure, why not? So this takes some time in order to like integrate all of the objects into my current running project. And like after some waiting time, and say like, yes, okay, I know that this is not the most up-to-date version from the plugin, but I still say it will just work. And this is the screen after I added it. Again, like nothing changed, right? Because I have inserted the plugin, but I am not actually using it. And for actually using it, I have to now move the GVR main object from the plugin onto my camera. Right? So if I go again to my inspector down here and go for assets prefabs, I find my GVR main object. This is the main thing the Unity plugin uses, which I need to integrate now with my project. And I do this by just dragging it onto the main camera. So I dragged it onto the main camera, and now let's see what's happening. So you see the distortion is already there, right? If I hit the play button, and I can also somehow animate it. And you see, now that I animated it, if I hit the Alt button while moving with my mouse over the preview, I can rotate the screen. So this is like me taking the cardboard and like looking around. And this is already the end of my demo. So I hope you're a bit excited on what you can do with Unity, because for me it was like coming from an OpenGL background, like this was taking me like, let's say 10 minutes, right? Which is like, impressive, because with OpenGL you have to do everything essentially yourself. So what's the summary of this demo? Like I said, it's fast, right? So you can create some simple demos really easily and see something really fast on the screen. Also using the Cardboard or Google VR SDK is like, okay, you import it and drag and drop it onto the main camera. Also, you can already preview the scene, right? So like in this preview mode we've seen, it's like, okay, this will be how it will be hopefully on any device actually running Cardboard. And since the version 1.0 of the VR SDK, we can also use the GVR intent to like manage Android specifics in the plugin. Sorry, in Daydream using Unity easier. Before it was always a pain because like the interoperability is not really easy, and that brings me also to the bad part, or the parts which are to be improved. Sorry. So if you want to use it for bigger projects, Unity is you have to pay money for it, right? So this one is now just using the free version because I did it in my spare time. But if I want to use like some other Java applications or Java libraries with it, I would have like a non-automated way to do this. At least this is the way I found out. It's like a bit more difficult than I'd like it to be, especially like you have to like handle strings or something, but I think you guys know probably more about it, how easy or difficult it is. But yeah, this is I think my run through Unity. Is this a sign that the light goes out? It's the sign that we should continue with Daydream, right? So that you guys over there can start sleeping about it, right? So why did I talk about, okay, what is Daydream? Let's start from there, right? So this is what the graphic is a bit enhanced just for a viewing pleasure for the audience. This is what Google announced at the I.O. this year. So what we are seeing here is like the controller. This is the Daydream controller, which has obviously 5 buttons. We have the big click pad, where you can click on your thumb with it. You can move it around, and you also have like a force touch. It's like a touchpad. You have the minus button on this screen, which is the app button. With this button, you can just press it, and your app see, okay, the user wants to do something which is not on the touchpad. The round circle button is the home button. So if you press it, you will go into something which is called Daydream Launcher. I'm not sure what this is. We'll find out soon, maybe. The other two buttons you are not seeing right now is volume up and volume down, which makes kind of sense. So like imagine you have your phone inside the cardboard or the Daydream device and it's like really loud, or it's too quiet. You can't take out the phone easily, so you are going for like just using the cardboard, the Daydream controller and change the volume on it. The other thing which Daydream specifies is actually the phone, or not the phone, but the specifications of the phone. Because they want, like Google wants to make sure that like you always have the best viewing pleasure while using Daydream, they specified, hey, your phone should be fast, and it should be not only fast in the sensors, so that like rotation and stuff gets like recognized fast, but it should also be fast in rendering. So like once you realize, okay, the user rotated the phone, and therefore this view, he should also update the view really fast without having like nausea effects. Because if your brain realizes like, hey, there is like some disconnect between the motion and what's seeing, you get motion sick. And this is the main thing we want to avoid when using VR. The big thing over here is the actual viewer. So this will be the cardboard with a strap. It can also be more advanced, but this is like the essential idea, so that you can like use your viewer for longer than just holding it. Because like if you hold it for like a long time, your arms get tired, so you can use the strap for it. Sorry, that was once too fast. What I also wanted to say is Google announced that in fall 2016 they are having devices which are supporting Daydream and which should also come with the controller and everything. So the thing is, I don't know how they look like. Right now, I have to simulate it using my Nexus 6P, which will be the viewing device running Nougat on it, and any other phone. So the phone will be the controller, which is connecting to the Nexus 6, and you can then, like, I don't know, use some Unity, like the demo apps also released with Daydream, and like fry some pans or play some tennis or something with using like two phones. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to the actual hardware specification and like to see what the hardware will be. Maybe October the 4th will be helping somewhere there, I don't know. But except for the hardware part, there's also the software, right? So let's take a quick look into the software. I was talking about cardboard so much because Daydream is essentially cardboard with a controller. So everything we learned so far about like how I can write things on cardboard or how I can use the cardboard plugins or SDKs is going to be the same. I will have like a special functionality for the controller, as in like I know, okay, did I click the button, did I move the cursor around, or what is actually my rotation in space? And also like how fast do I like smack the controller up and down, hopefully not hitting the lamp next to me. Also what they added now with the GVR 1.0 release is that they are now supporting all Android architectures. So before it was limited to I think ARM, and now they said like also you can use it on like the other hardwares around there. Okay, so I was talking so much about the controller. How do I actually use the controller? If I want to write the code for it, I have to include, again here, the SDK, which will be like at least 3 random AAR files I have to include as a module. But once I have included them, I can use the controller manager. The controller manager can tell me like, okay, is there actually a controller connected or not? I do this by creating a new controller manager with using a context and just giving it in an event listener. This event listener has 2 listener methods which can get called. It's like the API status changed or on recentered. The status changed means essentially, okay, is my controller connected to my viewer? Is this controller still like the right version number, or is this incompatible with the viewer? So those events I will get in the on API status changed listener. And I should react accordingly. The other thing is also the second listener method is the on recentered. So if I long press on the home button on the controller, it means like, okay, I would like that my scene gets recentered on the orientation of the controller. So sometimes it's just drifting away, right? And if this happens, I just like recenter the controller to the middle of the screen and hit the home button for some seconds. Then the idea is that you then say, okay, my geometry should have like now a new base rotation and a new base center based on where my cursor is pointing. So now that I have like a manager created, I can also get the controllers connected. Or the controller, sorry, two controllers might also be interesting. Once I have the controller, I can find out what this current status is, right? So I can find out what the current timestamp is. So when was the last update? So what kind of state does this controller represent right now? The orientation, which will be a quaternion, which is like essentially a representation of like the axis, the rotation of the controller in 3D space. I can also find out if my finger or if my thumb is touching the click pad. And if so, I can also get the touch position in like vectors, like in X and Y positions. I can also find out if like I click the button, if I click the app button, if I click the home button, volume up, volume down. So like what you would expect from the API. Another nice thing which comes with the SDK is that they have a VR viewer on web, iOS, and Android. So what is this VR viewer? Let's see if this just works. So this is now running inside my presentation. And I can like rotate a 3D photosphere around and just move it up and down however I like it. And this is pretty impressive because like, let's say I have this camera here, right? This is a 360 photosphere camera, and I like to do this right now. Right now, I took a photosphere. So like all of you are on this picture. I'm not sure if you are in there because you're pretty in the dark, I'm sorry. But with this kind of functionality, I can take pictures like this and just add it into my iOS app, into my Android app, or into my web app. So, sorry?
Does the VR view also record stereoscopic sound?
Yes, so the question was, like, does it also work in stereoscopic? So right now, an image like this, let's hope, spoiler, sorry. So this camera just takes one image, right? So it will just be one big one. But if you use jump, for instance, or something, you can also have like a stereos view. And this one has like a parameter to say, if you load this image in, is this stereoscopic or is this just monoscopic? If this is a word. So since I said this works on web, it obviously also works on Android. So this is a shaky view of me in the iOS, but if you are seeing this one, you see those are VR views inside Android. So I have taken 4 images there, and now I'm just rotating the phone slightly around. And at some point, I might even click on the little cardboard button there. Or in this case, I will click on the full screen button, which was now the case, and I obviously have it full screen. And what I would like to quickly elaborate is on how hard is this to actually write this app I was showing here. Let's see what we need. So we need, for instance, those images. So this was the image I showed you in the live sample where I was moving the camera around and rotating. And you need those equirectangular images. So they can come from this camera. You can like take 60 minutes to actually like do it with your Android phone and just like take separate images through the app, and then at some point you will have the whole sphere. Or you can use jump or any other thing which creates equirectangular images for you. You can also generate them if you like by using like 3D rendering software like Blender. There you just have to make sure that the meta information of the JPEG are set for being equirectangular. Once you have those images, the next step is downloading the AAR files, which I was mentioning briefly before, and set up your project to actually use them. The next thing which you need to do since version 1.0 is that you have to say that I actually want to use the proto buffer. Because before the proto buffer came bundled with the AARs, that's not the case anymore. So you need to add the Gradle compiled statement into your Gradle file of the app in order to make version 1.0 run on your system. So once you have the common widget and the Pano widget AR included, you can just use the VR panorama view. So this is an excerpt of the recycler view. I am assuming that everybody knows how a recycler view works, right? If not, let's talk about it afterwards, right? So it's essentially list view. With this one, I have like item views, and my item view right now will be just the VR panorama view. I can like define the widths, the heights, and everything like with it, however I want to define it. The next thing is after I created the item view, I go into the recycler view adapter, and in the onBind view, I now have to say, okay, I have my my view holder, and I want to put my VR panorama view inside of this view holder and actually set which image is to be displayed. First of all, the basic step is I cast my view holder to the specified type I want to use, which is in this case resource item view holder, because my images were resources. So yeah, however you want to call it. The next step is to actually load those images. I need the resources. So in order to get the resources, I have to get the view or a context and then get the resources from it. That's what I do in this step. And I need the resources because I actually need to provide a bitmap. The bitmap I just loaded from the resources from Android. In this case, it will be the position inside the recycler view determining, okay, which view do I actually want to load. And the next step is also the important one for you over there. If I now load the bitmap, I tell it, okay, please load this bitmap. And the next parameter, which I set null here, is actually, is this thing a stereoscopic view, is this a monoscopic view, or what kind of panoramic view do I actually want to display with this bitmap? If I put null to it, it will always be like a simple rectangular image which I showed before, like no stereoscopic, no nothing. And that's already it. So there's no more magic involved. I just have to define I want to use the VR panoramic view, give it the bitmap, and then I have like those kind of interesting views, which I found it's pretty easy, pretty amazing. And that also, like again, let's repeat what I just did with this one. I loaded a rectangular image from a bitmap. I displayed it into the VR panorama view, and I used the Daydream SDK to just display it. What are like, okay, I explained what is like nice about it, what I like about it. What's the hard part? The hard part is if you want to do something which is more than a panorama. Let's say you want to have a 3D object inside. You want to use textures. You want to use shadows. Sorry, you want to use shaders. There is no built-in support. So right now you would need to use OpenGL by hand, which is cool. Or you would need to use another 3D library in Java. So this is where I think the combination of Unity and the Android part comes together, right? So Unity is good, fast, and visual things. The interaction might be kind of interesting, and there is no VR view on it. On Android, you have the VR view on it, but you have to do like a lot of 3D stuff yourself. And with this, I'm thanking you for your patience. I ask you if you want to have socks, just come forward. And if you have any more questions, I will have a code lab directly afterwards in the room over there. And I have, let's say, 3 minutes for questions, if there are some. Thank you. Yes, over there.
Can you discuss the hardware limitations of devices supporting Daydream?
Can I discuss the hardware limitations using Daydream? No, because I'm not sure if they are published. So I would like to see like a hardware. Like I would like to see this device, but sorry, I can't. I don't know it yet.
Nobody knows it.
Nobody knows, yes. I mean, there are some, but those is NDA, right? Yes?
Do you have any tips for, I have an existing app and I want to build a VR world.
Yeah.
Do you have any tips for integrating that with my existing app?
So the question was how do, like what tips do I have for an existing app using VR? I don't know, it depends on your app, obviously. So for instance, Facebook did something similar. When you are posting an equirectangular image, which has the right meta type set, you will already see this kind of view, right? So in your timeline, you will see, okay, this is actually like already working VR.
What if I wanted to build like a 3D world, not just the panoramic view?
Yeah, if you want to build a 3D world, sorry, that's too generic. I can't tell you, like if you have a product or something, there might be a way of enhancing it by like, I don't know, if you want to show off your product that you can rotate around it or something. But maybe we can talk about this one specific later on. Thank you. Yeah. Have I looked at Project Tango? There I look into Etienne because he will have a talk combining Tango with Daydream. You're welcome. Any more questions? And please feel free to come to my talk or to our booth. There will be more socks. Thank you.